All right, welcome everyone. We are back for another big day in the Coin Rivet podcast. It's episode number 14. We got the man, the myth, Matt Staples in the flesh. Matt, how are you?
Let's go, man. I'm good. I'm excited to be on the podcast. It's always an honor to be on one of the few Jeff Gross podcasts, you know.
We do have a different couple things going. We've chatted on different places before, but today it's Coin Rivet. But speaking of that, before we forget, let's just kick right into it about price predictions. I always love guessing. You know, there's might be a prize. I don't know. We haven't figured that out yet, but we are going to do a guess on the price of Bitcoin and Ethereum. You can choose for both. January 1, 2023. Before we dive into the good stuff, give me your price prediction for those beautiful coins.
Well, you know, as a crypto expert, I'll lay out a prediction here for you. I think, you know, it's going to be a slow summer, but fall, people get active, man. People get active. When it gets cold, people get active. I think we're going to fire Bitcoin right back up to 55K.
55K, January 1 of 2023.
People are going to get restless. And Ethereum, can you remind me what it's at now?
Sorry. Look at this. I'm rusty on the hotkeys. Let me just shoot over to this. There you go. On the dot, 1100.
We're at 1100. You know, they're probably going to follow each other. So, I mean, let's go 2900 Ethereum.
2,900. All right, fair enough. So you're bullish. You're feeling good about crypto. I know you said you're an expert, although you're a semi-expert, maybe a medium expert, or aware of it. Well, let me ask you though: do you use crypto? Like, how do you feel in poker that it is helpful? Because like I know online now they've gotten rid of some player-to-player transfers and like your career. So you're young, but you have been around playing for several years now. Has that been how has that kind of impacted you and just being complicated in terms of moving money around sites and playing? Has it been easy, difficult lately? Because it's changed a lot since, you know, I was playing 15, 16 years ago. There used to be net teller. There used to be different ways you could get money on player-to-player transfer. What do you do these days for yourself?
Well, yeah, you have to go third party. I mean, I've definitely had to get involved in more just transfers elsewhere. Like I'll send you here, you send me here, and like getting money in and out is not quite as easy as it used to be. You know, myself personally, I don't do a ton of crypto transfers, but like the amount of people that do around me that are like, oh, I'll give you crypto for this, or I mean, it's shot up for sure in the last few years. Seems like
absolutely. It's definitely a prevalent thing within the poker community. But let's shift from crypto, because again, I know you said it's not your first strength or topic of expertise. But let's go into something you just had, COVID. How was that? It was your first time having it. You were under the weather, knocked you off the streaming game. I saw you win a tournament, Patrick Leonard style. I think you were streaming, putting updates on your phone, and just took it down to 500 on Sunday for 15K or so, which is pretty impressive. Let's cover that. What was that about? And are you just going to never stream again and play from your phone and put stories up?
Well, I mean, you know how it is, man. Like you can't just win tournaments as a content creator like dark. Like you got to do something, you know. So I'm sitting here.
It didn't happen.
I got my hoodie up. I'm playing. I'm like, this is a big tournament. Like if I had any self-respect, I'd probably be on Twitch right now streaming this. So I'm like, I got to do something. So I started taking some stories, and I ended up shipping it, which was cool. And I turned those stories into a TikTok as well. So I made sure I got some kind of content out of the deep run. But yeah, COVID, I did a lot of traveling. I was in Barcelona, and then I was in Montreal for the F1, and it caught up to me eventually. I just tested positive, and I was the only one as well. You know, like I saw my brother, and I was with my girlfriend and stuff, but I was the only one who caught it. So I don't know. I guess that's lucky, but yeah, COVID was. I was a little worried about a few things. Like I was worried about the smell and taste, because like that's the big one, right? Like if my taste buds are ruined for like a full year afterwards, like that's a huge deal. So like I was sweating that, but luckily that didn't hit me. And apart from that, it was just like pretty rough for a few days, but my energy's rebounded. I feel good, man.
Very nice. Well, you mentioned Barcelona. You are historically a online grinder, Twitch extravagant streamer. You've crossed the 100K mark in followers and a lot of hard work and effort there. What was it like a deep run in a main event? I mean, we were just, if I understand, you were chip leader with like 20 left, some crazy hands, and you actually bubbled the final table, but that was like 250,000 euros. What was that experience like, getting a deep run with a lot of chips?
So it's weird to play live poker because like I have so little experience as a live player, but I have so much experience as a tournament player. So it's like I show up at the live table and I'm like, okay, how do I execute to the level of what I'm at, right? Because like I'm a good tournament player, but how do I execute it in a live setting? So man, it was stressful, like trying to, you know, keep track of all the chip stacks and like counting big blinds all the time and like trying to play optimal poker in a live setting was a struggle, but I managed to do it to a decent level and ended up making a deep run in the main event. It was kind of just like, it's kind of like a fake it till you make it situation, you know? Like I was sitting there like, hey, I'm a tournament pro. I'm useless at the live table, but I'm just gonna fake it. And I ended up, you know, playing well and making a deep run. So it's pretty nice.
When was the last tournament you had played live?
Live. That? It was 2018.
So you just hop right in, your chip leader, 20 left for a quarter mil, take a couple coolers. I mean, what was like, did people, were you noticing that people, I mean, because that's a long time to not play live. So like you haven't really been in a venue. Obviously you're streaming a lot. People during COVID weren't really out as much. Did you feel people were coming up to you, recognizing you? Did you feel at the table you were sort of like you were known in a presence and a target, or was it just sort of like what was the feeling like at the table when you were playing and while you were at the venue?
Well, you know, there was some people there wasn't quite as, you know, I was at a party poker event and like that's kind of home base for me. So I was expecting actually a little bit more of that, like maybe some people saying hi or like it's going to be friendly or like, oh, like, you know, Twitch and this and that. There, you know, I found like the regs were not friendly towards me. Like they were not chatting me up like, yo, what's up? They were pretty stone cold. And then, you know, the kind of the hometown guys, I mean, they're all, you know, Spanish guys in Barcelona, and I don't have a big Spanish audience. So honestly, it was kind of just like, I felt like another player there, to be honest. But there, you know, there's of course some people.
Yeah, it was you versus the world.
A little bit.
Yeah, no, it can go, it can break different ways, right? It's always interesting how that goes. But it looks like you had a nice score. So how much did you cash for in that event?
The score was 23,000 euros. So made it a nice profitable trip. Got to spend 10 days in Barcelona. It's nice.
Yeah. And what was what was the bust hand? It was pretty crazy, right? You said you almost tripled up and you were chip leader, 20 left, two pair, get cooler. Then at the final, you had a chance to basically triple up when an all in heads up with the best hand.
Yeah. You know, I was down to a short stack. I was late position, shoved with a weak ace, ace four, but then the small blind called and then the big blind went all in. They had sevens and ace queen. Small blind folded. So there was all that extra dead money in there. Ace four against ace queen, spiked to four. I was like this close to making the final table, tripling up. We're talking $250,000 up top. Like I just can't even believe this, to be honest. But the board didn't run out favorably after the four, and that was that. So 10th place, close call.
And you busted a Steve O'Dwyer, who did take down the event, right? Pretty tough opponent.
He shipped it, yeah. I mean, he's a legend for sure.
Yeah. Well, that sounds like a pretty unreal experience. Then tell me about F1. What was that like? I actually just went to my first F1 race ever in Miami, and that was pretty special. What was your takeaways?
Man, I was I mean, it was an amazing experience because we got the paddock club, you know, like we got the nice kind of inside outside experience, like right above the pit lanes. So I felt pretty spoiled for like my first race to like have that experience of like, you know, we got to meet the drivers and go into the garages and see the race up close and personal. And it was, and the one thing I was worried about for F1 was like, you know, will the cars underwhelm me? Because like I assume them to be so fast, right? Like you assume like F1 cars will like blow you away. So I'm like, am I gonna overhype this to where the cars aren't gonna like, you know, blow me away? But they did, man. They're so fast. Like it's so man. It was it actually blew me away. It was a lot of fun. What did you find? What did you think about the cars? Like, did they blow you away, or was it more like,
Yeah, no, I mean, it's great. The noises, it was definitely intense. They're zooming around there and you could feel the energy. Also just more like a venue, right? Like a concert or more of, it's not just a race, you know, it's amazing to see how it's grown so much. And of course that show has made it so popular. I haven't seen it yet. Have you watched any of that?
Yeah, I've seen all of the show. Yeah. Yeah, I've seen all of it.
Yeah.
It's good.
How good is the show? How good is it really? They just so like, 'cause to me, it's hard for me to imagine how it could be made. Like, I just don't know anything about it. I've just heard it's amazing. So
it's such a hard show to like want to get into, like an F1 documentary. Like there's just like, it's just hard to say like you have the time to watch that. But it's better than you think. And it's like, I recommend it to people and I know it's going to be tough to get them to watch it, but I'm like, it'll be worth it if you do. They make it exciting. They follow different storylines between the teams. You know, true F1 fans, I think they kind of hate on it a little bit because Netflix, you know, they kind of make up storylines. They add some drama that maybe isn't there. They highlight like, you know, it's the classic media thing. They'll take like clips out of context, make the drivers look bad or make the coaches look bad. So it's like kind of a reality TV show kind of deal, but it's still good. And I mean, it gained a lot of fans. That's how I started watching F1. So.
Right. Yeah. It seems like I think it's a net positive, no matter how you shake it. But maybe from the true diehard authentics, they might have a little issue with it. But yeah, it makes perfect sense. So, what are your plans coming up? You are not playing the main event. It looks like I'm a little surprised. Are you going to zoom over there? What's going on, man? You're 21. The main event. What's going on?
I've had a few people get mad at me, like Kevin Martin.
I'm a little upset.
Well, are you going to be there?
Yeah. I'm not, but I have a wedding in France. Right, I actually can't make it. I can't make it.
I'm just sitting here in Calgary. Well, yeah, Kevin Martin called me. He's like, or no, he sent me a voice message. He's just like, with all due respect, I don't understand how you can miss the main event. Like, I don't know what you're doing. But the thing is, like, I've taken a lot of time away from streaming. This is the most time I've ever taken away from streaming, from Barcelona into Montreal, into COVID. Like I haven't produced like any content. It's been super dry. And like, I don't know. I feel like I just hit my live poker quota with this Barcelona trip. Like I don't have the itch to go play. And I'm really excited to just create content. Like I got my YouTube started up again. I'm making different kinds of content. I'm like looking forward to streaming. So
are you 22 or 21 or 3 now?
I'm 25. 25.
Have you played the main event yet?
Never played the main, no.
All right, let me ask you. I'm actually a little bit. I'm slightly upset. So what can I just ask you? Like the WSOP main event, it's just like every poker player's dream. You're hot. You played one tournament live, bubble the final table, or chip leader 20 left. You're in the zone. You're fresh off COVID. You don't have to, I mean, I hear what you're saying, but like, what would it take you to go? How can I get you to go play right now? How can I do it? I mean, you still have time. Like, is there any scenario where you could hop on a plane and go to play tomorrow? Or you're just no shot.
There's so little scenarios. I mean, here's the deal with the main, right? Like, if you get like really deep, then it starts to become like worth it for you. Like even as a player, like I'm not as a poker player. To me, it's just like a tournament, right? And I haven't played it. I know it's like amazing. It's one of a kind experience. Like there's nobody that doesn't say that about the main. So I understand that it's an amazing tournament. But like in terms of the actual EV of flying down to Vegas, taking a week down there, whatever, like most of the time you're not like the vast majority of the time you're walking away like with a bad trip. Right? So you're hoping for that deep run, right? And even if it's a semi-deep run, the content will not pay off. Like you get Instagram stories for 2 days, boom. You have to run mega deep for the media to start collecting around you for these things to pay off. So like if you do the extra EV of making that deep run as a content creator and a player, like it's sick. Won't argue with you there. But like if we're looking at pure stats, how often are you that guy in a mass field tournament like that? I don't think you're that guy often enough.
I mean, look, I'm not gonna argue. I'm just gonna put an offer. I'm saying, what would it take? What could I do to get you to fly to Vegas after this podcast? Is it possible? I mean, any kind of free roll, any kind of buy it, like nothing. You wouldn't go if someone is like, I'll put you in and you get an 80% free roll. Like that wouldn't do it.
I mean, that's ridiculous. An 80% free roll.
I'm just saying something. What is it? Where does it get interesting for you?
I would very much have to consider that. That's a lot of money.
I mean, don't tease me, but I mean, that's a very job. I'm saying maybe we could find a happy medium. I just think it's a mistake. I think it's a mistake not to go. Forget the content, forget the run, forget if you bust in the first hour. It's Vegas. It's at the new WSOP venue. I can tell you, I've gone to the Rio since my poker career every summer. This is the first summer I missed, basically, right? Other than the COVID. And I did actually go play a few events. I went for like 4 days or something, or 5 days, and played a few events, but it is so much better than what it used to be. Like it's crazy. And you actually have never got to experience the Rio, right? You never went at all, even to like check it out or see it.
Well,
so you won't even know.
I saw it once.
Okay.
Yeah. I saw it once.
But it's so much cleaner, better anyway. So listen, after the pod, I don't want to spend the pod talking about, but if you're, I feel like we need to get you there. I just think you might win. Like you just, you got, like you could like go deep. I should say go deep, make it worth it. I could see a top 100 run, but we'll talk about that later. I'm feeling itchy. I'm feeling like some action, man. I just feel like Kevin's kind of right on this. Although Kevin Martin, he gave up one of the best Sundays in history of poker. It was like during Scoop or something, and there's the GG, like all the best events, all the best stuff, and he went and played like a 1K live in Calgary. I get it that he wins every tournament there, but that was insane. Like I remember thinking in my head, I'm like, what is this guy doing? This is the best Sunday of the year, and you're going to play a 1K like live event, even, like, so we gotta sit Kmart down too. That's how insane I feel it is for you to miss, though. Similarly,
man, but it's like I have to fly to Vegas and like get the hotel, and I have to stay there, and I'm just gonna like go from 60K chips to 30K, bust the next day, fly home, and I'm tilted, man. Like I'm max tilt if that happened.
Okay, fair enough.
Only because I'm burnt out, right? If I had just been playing online for the last 3 months, I'm chilling. I didn't have COVID. Like I've been putting out content. Well, I'm not burnt out. Like I probably would go down to Vegas, but it's been such a different summer for me, like, or start of the summer anyway. That's more of a reason.
All right, fair enough. What are some of your goals and aspirations coming up? Because I mean, you've crossed the 100K mark on Twitch. You've got a successful YouTube channel. You secured a deal with Party Poker and an extension or a renegotiated contract. You're in there. You've done it. What else is like? What's exciting for you at this point in your career? What are you trying to do? Are you looking to maintain? Do you have special things you look at? Like what do you got your eyes set on in your career right now?
I really want to make I want to make a splash at some point, like in these next few years, through poker. Like I want to win something big, like, and I know this is ironic considering what we were just talking about, like the main or whatever. But the last few years, because I had 2 really good years in a row where I had this big score. I had like a almost 100K score 2 years in a row, and I was coming from the micros or whatever. So like I made waves 2 years in a row with these big scores, and it really helped my channel. But the last few years, like when it comes to series time in May or in August, like I'm just bricking, right? Like I haven't had that big score. I haven't had the stuff that gets me media, the stuff that gets me attention, the stuff that kind of moves the needle for me, both bankroll and attention wise. I haven't had that. And it sucks to rely on tournament wins, but it makes a big difference as like a poker content creator. If you go a few years and you don't win anything, like what are people watching? Like what are they looking at, right?
Yeah.
Your diehards, they'll watch, but like I'm not gonna get a poker news article written about me unless I win something big. You know what I mean? So I
get it.
My game is way better than it was back when I won those big scores. Like I'm 3 times as good as I used to be, and I keep getting better at tournament poker. I'm just hoping, like, sometime in the next few years I can, I don't know, make a splash, whether it's in a live tournament or a high stakes online tournament or a big guarantee. Like that's what's in my head, to where like I feel like that's what I need to do is make waves in the community somehow. YouTube is, I guess, the only other thing for me. Like I just want to keep playing online poker and play higher stakes and try to accomplish that. But YouTube is something I've neglected this year, and man, I love YouTube, dude. I love putting out YouTube videos. It's like after streaming for so long, hopping online for my daily grind, like it's kind of monotonous. Like I'm used to that, but when I upload a YouTube video, it's a different community. It's a different feeling. Like I have a lot of creative energy when it comes to YouTube right now, and TikTok and Instagram. So, man, I don't know. I don't think it's crazy. Like I don't think I've ever been this fired up about like making content. and I'm 6 years in now, or like almost 7 years in, but like I feel really fired up right now to like do things, which is nice. It's nice.
Yeah, I feel that as well. I mean, I'm traveling on the road right now, but I feel like poker's in a very unique place. Like the main event should probably most likely it's going to hit a record. It looks like it's on pace to do that this year. Like the WPT, you know, they had I think like 2,400 when 1,800 or 1,900 was the largest field size ever. That was in Hard Rock last year, like right after COVID. You know, like literally people were wearing masks and glass was up. So I think live poker's thriving. Of course, there's some issues online with like RTA and different possible problems with people cheating or colluding and people getting better. But with that being said, you know, there's like mystery bounties now. There's progressive knockouts. There's 5-card is becoming popular. Like, I think ultimately I say this a lot, but like the reality of poker is people love to gamble, but then have skill. And it's sort of the perfect match. So it doesn't really matter what the game is. Like there's always going to be poker. People like to play and compete. And I just think that like we are in a unique time. I feel like it's really starting to get a positive light. I feel like it's getting more popular. And I think there's also legislation, you know, in the US and places where it's going to be more prevalent and unique. How do you feel about the state of poker at the moment?
Man, I mean, live poker might be it, dude. Like, you know, I'm talking about making waves and stuff. Like, it's weird for me because all my content is online, right? Like, I only have a name in poker because of my online stuff. So it's weird to think that live poker may be the next avenue to try to make waves as a content creator.
Yeah.
But man, like the energy surrounding live events is huge. It's just huge. The big mystery bounties like WSOP crushing this year. Man, I don't know. I think live poker, just from an outside perspective, seems like it's in a really good spot. As for online, like, you know, the RTA, the cheating, it really sucks. But I think it's always important to mention that for like a lot of people, it's not a problem, right? Like if you're playing 22s, 55s, you're playing just like some Sunday big field MTTs, like this is not going to affect you, like this RTA stuff. Or very, very little. Like, you know, if it's a decision between playing and not, and you're not going to play like your Sunday 55 because you're worried about RTA, I think that would be a huge mistake. Now, if you're in the high stakes scene and you're playing the best of the best, you're playing small fields, you're playing really competitive fields, that's where it's like, okay, well, I'm investing a lot of money against people that may be utilizing these things. So now I got to start to think like, is this smart? I think that's the clientele where maybe, you know, people are starting to have pause, but I think the overall ecosystem is fine, to be honest. You know,
and it does seem I agree with you on that. I think that I also think it's the sites they do a good job in protecting and do a better, you know, cleaning up stuff behind the scenes and catching a lot. And I think there's always that side too, where they're a little bit ahead of the curve.
I think the bigger threat to online right now is legislation. Like countries are getting restricted, provinces are getting restricted. Like it just keeps getting more and more restricted, and it's just so hard to play, man. It's hard to play when prize pools get cut off and countries get segregated, and it's going the wrong direction legislation wise. So I mean, that would be the main thing for me right now. Is like I just hope somehow things can get reversed, and yeah, that's the big thing.
Yeah, it's the U.S. though. At the same time, it's sort of there is openings. Pennsylvania, Michigan, they kind of join in like into the conglomerate where it's interstate action. So it's hard to say. I guess Canada's a little different. I have heard some things where it looks like Ontario and other places are restricting and consolidating. So yeah, it's kind of always just it surprises me still.
Well, I guess the U.S. has reason. The U.S. has a reason to, I guess, be optimistic, right? Because their situation just slowly keeps getting better, right? You know, more states opening up. But did states combine? Like, is there a few that combined into a pool?
Yeah. Well, it's been Nevada and New Jersey for bracelet events. I believe Michigan is now part of that, and Pennsylvania is either in it or getting put in. And it's interesting. I think it's moving pretty quickly. It looks like that is happening. So yeah, it's definitely good news. when do you think that you will, like, if you had to put a 5-year plan together, do you see yourself streaming then, or do you just not really, that's just like so far down the line? Cause I mean, you're 25, right? I mean, I'm 35. Do you see yourself at 30 streaming? Just trying to think like how you perspect it.
Yeah, I think I'll be on Twitch at 30. Very unlikely to be on Twitch how I am now. Like I don't see the scalability of my career leaning itself towards me playing like a 33 on a Tuesday. You know what I mean? Like at some point I just don't see myself doing that, but I still plan to be playing poker in 5 years, and I'll be playing online if online exists. So I'll definitely be streaming at that point, but I guess it depends, you know, how much I do in live poker over the next few years, whether companies value me playing live poker, right? Like I like working with poker companies. I'm working with Party Poker now, and if they're like, hey, we don't want you to play live, we don't want you to play live poker. We don't value that. Well, those are the kind of questions as like a content creator I got to ask, right? So yeah, I think
for sure,
probably less on Twitch, but I don't plan on quitting. So.
And how has Twitch been in the last few months? I have not had a chance to really keep up with it. I've been on the road. How has there been any changes? Has it been any bit, how would you say the landscape of Twitch poker has been shifting in the last few months or 6 months, let's call it?
Well, man, the series, the kind of, there's like multiple parts of the year for Twitch poker, and like there's the series part of the year, which is like May, and things go crazy in May, right? Like that's when like high stakes, like really good pros will just randomly start streaming throughout the series, and like people will be playing 10Ks and 5Ks and 1Ks every day. And like during that part of the year, Twitch poker is like super condensed, super saturated, and like the content's popping off. So yeah, like I think Twitch poker is really exciting. At least this year it was around that time. And then in the summer, like people kind of just chill out, right? Because they go play live poker. They go to the World Series. They're tired after like a busy May. So that's kind of how it goes. And yeah, I would say it was quite exciting, and now it's quite slow. Just those two separate times of the year.
And how is your content? How is your team sort of expanding? For videos, how hands-on are you on that? Or do you kind of just let who's filming it put it together? Like, what's your process when you have like a live YouTube video come out?
I'm quite hands-off. So I work with the Party Poker team. So I kind of do my stream, and I might write some notes down about what the video should be about, and then I'll send it over to the editor and then review it and then put it up. So I'm pretty hands-off when it comes to the YouTube stuff, but I do have plans to like make separate content to where I'm just recording on my own, and I might have more input, and like, it's a separate thing. But if it's just a stream highlight, I'll just send it over and get them to cut it up.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense. And do you believe in terms of like TikTok and Twitch and YouTube, what do you think is actually the most beneficial for putting out content in terms of growing the game? What have you seen more engagement, interaction, and just do you feel progress when you put out content?
That's a good question. It's a really good question. I think TikTok has like a lot of potential. The thing about TikTok is like I'll run into poker videos on TikTok that just explode. They do tend to be live poker videos. That's the thing. So I think TikTok has like the most potential of those three platforms, but it's a specific kind of content that does well, right? Like I'll post like in the past, they used to post online poker clips, and they would get like, a few thousand views, but they would never blow up, right? They would never blow up. They would never reach that like viral level. And I post vlogs of like my day in the life kind of stuff, and they do well, 10K, 12K, 15K views, but they never blow up to like that TikTok 1 million view kind of thing that can happen. But I'll be browsing and I'll see like a live poker, like this guy peels aces and says, I'm raising to 30. And this guy 3-bets me and I 4-bet and he folds. Like just like a little live poker vlog like that. And that video will have like 30,000 likes and like 2 million views. Cause it's like a live poker thing. So like TikTok loves that. And there's so much room to blow up on that app with specific poker content. I'm not quite making that content yet, but like that's the most exciting, I think, is that there's just not many creators on there, but there's so many viewers that care about poker or just like to see cards and chips and things.
Right. Yeah, it makes sense. And how has been in a serious relationship impacted your streaming and just overall balance in life? For I know you're saying and I believe your girlfriend does stream as well. Is that right?
Yeah, she does. Yeah. I mean, she has a full-time job, but she streams on the side. So, yeah, I guess, you know, my girlfriend, we have like a really nice balance, and like, she's not somebody that would ever stop me from like grinding or putting out content or whatever. She's super supportive of that. Like if I wanted to, you know, 6 days in a row, just put my head down and grind and put out content and work, she likes that. She would be down for that. I think overall, like it's resulted in me being less grindy, you know, like trying to balance out like spending time in a relationship or just like random obligations, obviously, that just come up through being in a relationship. So I think I have free reign to work as hard as I want or live the poker dream or poker life as I have that freedom. But I think ultimately I'm maybe grinding a bit less than I did a few years ago just because of that, you know?
Yeah. Yeah, for sure. And do you have a hard time to disconnect, or are you pretty able to just sort of like, all right, I'm done streaming, everything's off? Cause you know, in general, I'd say when I contact you or we get in touch, like you seem like you're pretty, you know, historically you've been able to sort of remove yourself and be switched off. Because you're always, I mean, the reality is when you're on YouTube, when you're on Instagram, Twitter, TikTok, all these things, whether it's a message or something, it's very easy to get caught in the trap, right? Where you can spend hours a day or with emails and, you know, streaming 8, 10, 12 hours in a day. It's a lot. And it's not, again, people don't always understand that. There's a lot more to it. You got moderators, you got a team, you got to talk to your, you know, party poker, you got to talk to, make sure stuff's good. There's some obligations, responsibilities. So how do you find yourself and being able to switch off and just be able to enjoy yourself?
I think, you know, especially ever since I started doing like the daily vlogs, I don't feel like I almost feel like I need to be filming everything these days. Like almost everything I'm doing could be made into a piece of content, which is, yeah, I'm finding it a lot tougher these days to switch off. Like back in the day, you know, if we were talking, if we were talking 4 years ago, I was very young in my, like what kind of content I was putting out. I wasn't trying to put out clips. I wasn't doing vlogs. I wasn't doing TikTok or YouTube. I was just streaming, right? So disconnecting a few years ago would have been super easy, but I have so much creative energy these days, man. Like I want to make so many different things. And like I'm just so excited about making stuff and like seeing what kind of progress I can make. So like I can't fully shut off, man. It's tough. It's really tough. But
you know, it's funny you say that because I feel the same way. Part of me wants that, like the Gary Vee guy, the guy's a machine, right? He's a nut. He's got like 40 people. We know Mike Vacanti. You had the Ultimate Sweat, which is one of the greatest prop bets in poker history. You know, the bet where you risked, it was like 3K to win 150. You know, I was involved in that a bit. I had some action and was sweating it very close. Very exciting, right? That was cool. Documented it. Have some great content from that. You know, like Mike Vacanti is Gary Vee's personal trainer, right? Like you probably talked to him, you know, Mike better than myself, but like that guy has a team at all times. There's times where I feel like, I'm like, man, wouldn't that be kind of cool to just like be able to do everything you want? But then again, it's like a whole different lifestyle and it's invasive and it's different. And you have to have people involved in your life. But I feel the same way. Like I would love to put out more poker content, more content in general and just have it go. But the hard part is not doing it. The hard part is like doing it, uploading it, creatively making sure everything's good. So what do you think about that? Would you ever be like, you know what, I'm going to hire a team and I'm just going to have like, I'm going to go nuts. Like, does that cross your mind? It sounds like you're thinking sort of on that path.
Well, you know, just recently with the party poker stuff, like, you know, now that they're helping me with YouTube and like handling that better. And, you know, I'm also having somebody help with social media, which is huge. Oh my goodness. That's so nice. Cause I used to do all my own clips. But now I'm getting clips out on TikTok, Instagram, or not TikTok, but Instagram, Facebook, YouTube Shorts. Like videos are getting posted everywhere. I'm like, dude, this is amazing. Like this this is my content, but I'm hands off, but I'm growing. And it's like, this is the way to do it. I always had reservations for having like somebody help me with social media, because I don't really look at social media purely as transactional. Like, I don't look at it as like, okay, I only need followers and retention and whatever. Like, part of me wants to post. Oh, I thought I lost you again. Part of me wants to post because, you know, I want to say something, and you know, it's like kind of an art, right? Like I actually want to put out content that I care about and I find to be valuable. And if you have somebody helping you, like, they're just going to put out generic, like, you know, people will know it's not you, and it's just not the same. But I found that there is platforms and there's times and spots where you can just kind of pump out content and like people like it, you know. It doesn't have to always be personal or nice, you know. It just can just be clip, and that's fine. So ever since I started getting help with that, it's been really good. So
amazing. Well, listen, Matt, I know you are a busy man. If you want to get talked in the WSOP, shoot me a message and we could try to work something out. Maybe fly you to Vegas tomorrow. I'm feeling itchy on the trigger finger, and myself not being there hurts, right? Like, I want to have action, I want to have as much pieces and opportunity as I can. But congrats on all your success. Always great to catch up with you. I know we got some mutual projects and things we're working on and involved with. So I'm sure we'll be in better touch. And again, congrats on all the success. Great run in Barcelona. And I always got my eye on your stream and your content. Always a pleasure. Thank you so much for coming on the Coin Rivet podcast. Really appreciate it.
Thanks, man. It was a pleasure to be on the show. Cheers.
Have a good one. All right, guys, we'll see you next week for another edition of Coin Rivet podcast. I'm Jeff Gross. Thanks to Matt Staples. We'll see you soon.